Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So I want to talk to you guys about the doll picture and the significance of it. And for me, it proves planning, premeditation, and what it kind of speaks to what really went on to me. So in there's something called image magic, okay? Image magic has been used for centuries. The basic idea is that you use some object to represent a victim. What is done to the object is done to the victim. This practice goes all the way back to ancient Egypt. For the best results, it's best to use something that has the energy and vibes from the individual that you're trying to harm, that you're mad at, basically. And you make a puppet or a voodoo doll, basically. Essentially, it's a voodoo doll-ish type thing, right? So a photo can be taken, i.e. the photo that was taken, and it could be personal possessions like hair, fingernail clippings, or dirt taken from a footprint. There are endless possibilities as long as the article has a close connection in some way with who you deem your enemy. Puppets are often constructed from wax or clay. Wax can be hard, and it's not necessary for those two items to be the vessels, so to speak. What is important is the right amount of focusing and hatred that goes into the working. Driving a nail into a puppet's head will cause insanity. Driving a nail into the heart with the right kind of focus and intensity will cause death. If done with enough intensity and the operator's aura is powerful enough, burying the image in the ground will cause the person to waste away as the image rots in the ground. So the picture corroborates Chris's second confession in Wisconsin, being that he used the blanket to smother them both, he says. So it was basically it was for her to ensure that things were going to go to plan. And it's also where her anger seems to be. It seems like she has anger for the children, and that was important to her. And it was also important to her to send it to Shanann in a mocking type way without Shanann having knowledge of what it really meant. She had free reign with him for 6 weeks, wasn't it? And there's another part to this that I'm going to read you guys, and I'm going to show you. This is all satanic things. These are rituals that are done. And, it's what she did. I mean, it's very obvious what the doll picture was taken for. I think that it was meant to send to Shanann, but everybody else thinks it's like a foreshadowing, and it kind of is, but it was an insurance to ensure that it happened. She left that energy in the whole entire house as a whole. Anything can be negative depending on the person that's wielding it. And she knew how to wield it. Okay, so now we're going to talk about thought form, which is bioelectrical technology and the black arts of hypnotism. So during the 1970s, the world powers acquired major advances and breakthroughs in mind control technology. Hypnosis has many positive applications, such as healing or breaking certain habits. Most professional hypnotists agree that when under a hypnotic trance, the subject will never act against his or her own will or perform acts contrary to his or her own nature. This, in reality, is false. A trained and confident operator can impel a subject to do anything he or she commands him or her to do, unless there is extremely a powerful aversion within the subject, or if the will of the subject is exceptionally strong. 20% of the population are perfect subjects for hypnosis. Above average intelligence, which Chris says that he has, the possible existence of an imaginary playmate in childhood, a strong tendency to daydream and fantasize, and the will to comply make one a desirable candidate. And he's very complacent. As we see, he complies, as Kim said, out of her own mouth. He was like the perfect person to do this on, like super easy. She didn't even need to be advanced, really. What she needed to do was what happened. And to be honest, guys, it's not about love. It hasn't been about love. The target was the kids. The target was Shanann. For whatever reason, those were the targets. That's who the anger and the resentment was for. Remember, Nicole Kessinger said, love doesn't kill. Anger and resentment kill. And it does, and it did. Definitely did. Okay, so in the black arts of hypnotism, the hypnotist and the subject form a master and slave relationship. The subject must be isolated from friends and family and spend much time alone with the operator, where rapport is established. The 6 weeks, correct? He would have no family. There you go. Okay, so an emotional rapport is very important in establishing trust and obedience. The operator must come across as a good listener. Didn't Nicole Kessinger say they were able to talk and communicate, and she was interested in things that he had to say, and blah, 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 blah? Well, that's what she had to do to get his trust and obedience. And show genuine interest in anything that he had, because she said she did. The subject is made to feel comfortable around the operator and can be open with him or her. Didn't she say that too? Thought so. So the initial hypnotic induction is the most important, as it breaks through the subject's mind and opens the door to the hypnotist. When in the alpha state, the logical mind is inactive and one is open to all suggestions. The operator gives the subject the suggestion that he or she will become deeply hypnotized again whenever the operator gives the induction cue. This can be in words or of a signal. Each session induces a deeper hypnotic state. When the subject slips under the complete control of the operator with deeper trances, the subject becomes more and more powerless against the operator. Artificial amnesia, also known as mind wipe, is induced by the operator, suggesting to the subject that he or she will not have any conscious knowledge of the session. Further important suggestions include that the subject will not in any way be able to be hypnotized by anyone else, and that he or she will act in a trance state just as if they were awake. Once the subject is easily hypnotized by the operator, the mind and the personality can then be conditioned. Childhood playmates are often extensions of one's personality, especially in those who are weaker character and would not fight back personally or defend themselves. Sound familiar? The imaginary playmate can fight back and get angry, whereas the child cannot. It could point to an abusive parent in his childhood, which would be his mother, in my opinion, to whom the angry thoughts and actions of the playmate are directed against. During the initial conditioning phase of the session, the operator regresses the subject into childhood. Regression plays a very important part in establishing control over the subject. An operator who works for the government, as in producing spies, will look for the most aggressive of the imaginary friends in attempting to artificially split the personality. The most aggressive aspect of the personality are ideal in destroying all inhibitions. So artificial splitting of the personality occurs when the imaginary playmate is brought out in the subject and the subject becomes a playmate on cue. The playmate usually emerges through one of the subject's chakras. The operator informs the subject that the playmate's name will come through the subject's stomach, third eye, throat. The subject is further told that he or she will not remember anything of the session or the emerging personality. In actual cases, the emerging stronger personality is conditioned, then programmed, and suggested to be hostile to the root personality of the subject. This aggressive personality, in nearly all cases, is stronger and can take more abuse. Intensive programming is instilled in the aggressive personality so that they will never divulge certain information under any torture. The root personality, who is basically unknowing of the entire experience, is often the one who endures systematic torture with no memory or recall of the information the interrogator is attempting to force them to reveal. Through repeated sessions, the personality is brought out more and more and becomes much more stronger, completely splitting off of the root. The subject, due to being programmed not to remember, has no knowledge, only gaps in time and missing pieces in the memory. Much time slips by unnoticed and is unaccounted for. Further conditioning sessions will include talking the subject through an experience completely against their nature. When the subject is made in his or her mind to do something he or she would never consciously do, the subject actually experiences what the operator says. Then, through repeated sessions, all inhibitions are overcome and the personality is shaped into doing whatever the operator wishes. This is where the subject, for example, can murder anyone without hesitation or do anything else the operator commands, like anything else. Repeated program is instilled and maintained in the subsequent sessions. It's known as a military psychology. People who use recreational drugs are susceptible, and it's actually used. Drugs are used in order to get people under control, to use this technique. Do you guys remember when Nicole Kessinger told Coder that she worked with these guys in the military and, they would tell me about their PSTD and stuff like that? Yeah. Her dad's in the military. Her dad's a computer programmer. He works in programming for the military. She did a little boo-boo and used information that she learned in a bad way that she probably would get in trouble for, but nonetheless, not in public trouble anyway. You see, with both of these are just a few of the tactics, and we can see them used in the verbiage that she uses, and also in the verbiage that Kim uses. Like, I noticed a few things for their way of describing things, Kim and Nicole Kessinger. There's just certain words that I'm like, what? You kidding me? Like, ugh, she doesn't even answer questions usually. She's like, you guys, like, I mean, you got to understand, like, we need everything. Like, Shanann killed them. And like Tammy Lee was already biased. I mean, I'm sorry, Kim, but apparently Kim doesn't know that detectives are not juries and they are not lawyers. Detectives don't have to be on they're actually usually not. That's actually how it usually goes. They're really just usually they're not friends with them. They don't think that they're innocent. They don't think they're either way. But they can't, they're not supposed to be biased. They're just not supposed to be corrupt, right? They're supposed to do their job. And they did their job. You know, the funny thing is, they act like Chris is like literally a child, that he is a victim. And that's how that's his thing. He's the victim. I'm the victim all your life. But so is Nicole Kessinger. Like, how difficult would a relationship between them have been? They're both the victim. They're both drama queens. Everything is always about them. They can't ever love each other because they don't even love themselves. But if they came close to loving anybody in this life, it'd be themselves. You know, I think that Kim Kaufman is terrible at what she's trying to do, but I think that it's also purposeful. She says a lot without saying shit. It's a money grab, and she's getting it, you know? She's getting it. Come on, guys. Like, you have to understand. And another thing, just because, okay, so she implied that Chris's first confession has to be the truth and has to be what Tammy Lee thought, because she knows what she's doing, and that's the one that she got an emotional response from. No, sweetheart. She knows what she's doing, and she knew what kind of personality she was dealing with. So she knew that he wanted to be the good guy. I mean, they even talk about it. I mean, your points don't make sense. Kim, and Lana. Like, y'all need to really, can y'all like have sex with each other or something and rid yourselves of this negativity? Like, get right with Jesus and walk the green mile, because you bitches is tripping. And that's all I want to say with that. Yeah, I think it's a coven though, and I think that it's something a manipulation tactic that Nicole Kessinger has used multiple times. And she has lost. It's something that I'm picking up on though, but she's lost some type of power that she had previously. It might be Kim that's lost that power. I think it's possible that Kim has been cut off from Chris. I don't know. It's one of the two. I don't know which one. It's just something I'm picking up on. But basically, she completely visualized. She studied Chris up here with the puppets and the learning the routines and getting in their daily life and having that time alone with him. And this is not it. Aleister Crowley, again, was a big Satanist. He's actually pretty big. And by the way, he loves and takes pride in the fact that he's called the wickedest man in the world. I just wanted to throw that out there. But he doesn't have any eyebrows, and he doesn't have, he has a shaved head. And the same thing with Nick Thayer. And I believe that same thing can be said about Chris Watts' attorney. That's a Aleister Crowley thing. There are mind control underground bases in Colorado. That's well known. There's military bases out there as well. Sorry, guys. Probably a lot of experiments going on. But I don't think, I mean, I guess it could be a psyop from, like, you know, the big powers that be type thing. But I just feel like this one was rogue. Like, she did things that she knows about human psychology. She used the information that she has to manipulate and revenge. It was all about revenge. She didn't like Shanann from somewhere in their past. It was all about Shanann and the kids. The kids were a big part of it for her because she was going to level up with them in the coven. She was getting high priestess status, and you know what you need for that, and it's called the marrying the beast ceremony or ritual. Which one is it? But you have to wear a wedding dress because you literally marry the devil. I'm just saying. Everybody thought she wanted a wedding dress for Chris, but whole time, bitch just wants to have her, you know, ceremonial spell, her marriage to the beast that happened on August the 13th.